When I started playing Destiny, I said to hell with the Grimoire. I had no interest or time to dig into it. Of course, anyone that invested that much time into it had the right, but I felt they should have been examining the game itself, knowing how lackluster the story was compared to the smoother gameplay. The basis for Destiny had something great, but what I, in my arrogance, found out was that there was something deeper going on that connected it all together. It just took several months for me to understand that. The moment I started to read over these cards and get into some of the finer story-based cards, I knew what I had been missing this whole time. To make some of these cards into cutscenes or an animated movie would have taken far, far too long, and the images that they painted were vibrant and different, especially from person to person. The more I started to scour over the internet through Reddit, YouTube, Instagram, wherever it may have been, there were so many different ways to interpret the cards, or things I had missed. It caused me to reread, to reinvestigate, to look at points within the game that tied back to those cards. It caused me to have fun with the game again and care, for the first time in a long, long time, about a game's backstory and its origins. And now, there I sit, thinking over the possibilities and implications that exist that Grimoire will no longer be in the game in Destiny 2. Nothing has been 100% confirmed by Bungie yet on how they'll actually handle this, but the more that is talked about it and the more that I hear of this possibility being robbed from us in Destiny 2, the more it pains me to even make a new video or keep going with what we've been doing over the past several months. It was a blow to my heart that caused me to sit in front of my computer, try to write something up on the game, or even have a hard time to sit and pick up the game, but I had no want to do so. I found out, in fact, the Grimoire is my game. The lore is my game. I understand this other side of this coin, of course, or what it should mean for Destiny 2, and that is having more engaged characters, more involving motivations to go from place to place, and hopefully more to interact with in the world. I'm constantly reminded of how Guild Wars 2 went for me, and how deep I felt and connected within that world for the time that I played it. But then how little I cared for what had happened in the endgame, because now, well, all the events that occurred from day to day were the exact same. This really caused me to fall away from Guild Wars 2. I had no connection to its story anymore, no connection to its characters, because they had no additional content for me to connect the dots. It's hard to put this into words without fully explaining Guild Wars' story. Perhaps it's best we just talked about the quotes that have been picked up through different articles. The recent Forbes article talks about it best when interviewing Steve Cotton, the lead designer for the world of Destiny 2. But nothing inspires my own confidence in Destiny 2 more than learning that Grimoire cards are no more. Much of the original game's story and lore was conveyed to players via these cards, which you could read only outside the game proper. In other words, to truly understand and care about what was going on, you need more than Destiny itself. This was something I really loathed about the game, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't alone. So I asked Bungie's world lead Steve Cotton if Grimoire cards would play a role in the game, and he came back with a resounding no. The answer to that question is no, and the reason it's no is because we want to put the lore in the game, Cotton told me. We want people to be able to find the lore. All the story is told through the adventures, it's told through the characters in the world, it's told through the campaign, and it's told through scannables you find throughout the world. The article typed up by Games Radar also had this statement from Cotton. There's stories to chase in each world, Cotton explained. There's the campaign story, reclaiming your power and your home, but then each world has a character in the world that has their own story to tell, and you do things for them. And so each one of those adventures is telling a story. The lost sectors you find when you discover those dungeons and these bosses, you make your own stories as you go as a player. As far as lore, there are still lore objects to scan and collect and find throughout the world. We want to put all the lore in the game. No more Grimoire, just all the lore in the game. What Bungie is going for here is the way Skyrim seems to do lore, having everything out and about in the world for us to find and see. Without written word, however, if we were to find a Clovis Bray logo on a wall, for instance, well, now we have to imply what this could mean with nothing to look back on for evidence, quite possibly. The scan from our ghost may help to interject some further idea and understanding why a Clovis Bray symbol might be on said wall, but how far it would tell the story is far beyond me, especially if these scans are similar to ones we have now with the Taken King. What I could and would hope for is something a little closer to that of Horizon Zero Dawn, a more recent example. The idea here is being able to scour the area for items and past relics from the before time, as they like to put it, without digging into spoilers. Obviously, I've had a lot of time to play this game. I kind of wish I did have more time to play this game. This kind of system would make sense to me. We could see more backstory and logs crafted and accessible within the game. I think that takes care of one of the biggest complaints with the system, having to go to a website to otherwise access this information. Then again, I'm sure the alternative will be true, and you'll still have people complain that they don't want to turn on their console or PC just to look over the codex for some backstory. You simply can't please everyone. And you'll still have the naysayers in the furthest corner, just wanting it all spoon-fed to them. And these are the ones, I would argue, the lore community is not generally for. They're the heavy gameplay enthusiasts that push for strikes, raids, and Crucible all the time, and every time. But let it be no secret, I do agree we need a further story told to us within the game, making those that are present and within the current narrative to be ones that are focused on and brought to light like that of a typical game. But to expect the same level of detail all across the board in some of the largest examples, like that of Shin Malfure, Dredgen Yor, and now the Shadows of Yor, the backstories of Maya Sandaresh, Dr. Shim, Chioma Essie, and Dwayne McNiad, the Reef Wars, the Books of Sorrow, the Lost Fire Team in the Vault of Glass of Pradith, Kabir, and Pahanan, the dead of the first Crota Fire Team, Saimota, Ariana III, Veltz Harlow, Omar Aga, the Warlocks Osiris, Toland, and Ulantan. You can't tell me you're not excited for Osiris simply because of the possibility of finally getting some kind of answers about him. Answers by which the Grimoire cards ask the questions you have. I don't say this as someone that is simply trying to build this channel. I say this as someone that is simply wanting to see a more fleshed out and interesting story within Destiny, even if told through us by scannable objects or Grimoire cards or whatever it may be. I want to see more of its backstory, even if slowly handed to me, contradicting the ideas and philosophies of characters I've put in place in my mind, to give a more clear understanding of what this world's universe is all about. All the same, I want to be challenged to put these pieces together, because it's as much as a mystery to those in the game as it is a mystery to our characters, with logs and notes being stated as scattered throughout the city age. What I don't necessarily want is to be spoon-fed all of this information, though I understand the want is to enjoy by some out there and not to have to piece it all together. As someone that has grown up around science fiction and fantasy storytelling, however, I am always up for a good mystery before it all comes together. And my selfish plea to make of all of you: if these scans turn out to be something minor and small, then help the lore community to gather up as much evidence as you can. Keep your eyes open so that content like this can continue to be made. Traveler knows if the game is meant to be as large as they're projecting, we're all going to have a hard time finding everything the game has to offer in terms of story. That's both terrifying and awesome to think about. One piece of information could set a theory one way or another. My hope is simply this: Bungie, don't abandon the community that has formed because of this lore. We are hungry for more of that backstory and understanding. We want to hear more of the collapse, the Golden Age, the Guardians that came before us. We all want to know where you've been guiding us. Don't throw out this wonderful world you've created within these cards. Expand it, yes, but please, don't throw it out.